Welcome to Mochi English, your cozy place to learn English by listening. Hello and welcome to our English learning podcast. I'm your host Sam, and I'm so glad you're joining me today. If you're planning a trip to the United States, or if you're just interested in learning more about American culture, then this episode is for you. Today we're going to talk about ordering coffee at a coffee shop in the USA. Now, I know what you're thinking. How hard can it be to order a cup of coffee, right? But trust me, there's more to it than you think. In the US, coffee shops are a big part of daily life, and ordering coffee is almost an art form. From the type of coffee to the type of milk, to the flavorings and sweeteners, there are so many options to choose from. And if you're not familiar with the lingo, it can be a bit overwhelming. But don't worry, by the end of this episode, you'll be a pro at ordering coffee like a native American. So, let's start with the basics. In the US, coffee shops are not just places to grab a quick coffee on the go, they're also social hubs where people meet to catch up with friends, work on their laptops, or just relax and enjoy a cup of coffee. You'll often see people sitting at small tables, typing away on their laptops, or chatting with friends. And the atmosphere is usually very relaxed and casual. When you walk into a coffee shop in the US, you'll usually be greeted by the barista, that's the person who makes the coffee, and they'll ask you what you'd like to order. Now, this is where it can get a bit tricky, because there are so many options to choose from. But don't worry, we'll break it down step by step. We'll talk about the different types of coffee, the different types of milk, and all the flavorings and sweeteners you can add. We'll also talk about some common phrases and expressions that you can use when ordering coffee, like to go or for here, and what they mean. And we'll practice some conversations, so you can get a feel for how it works in real life. By the end of this episode, you'll be confident and ready to order your favorite coffee drink like a pro. So, let's get started and dive into the world of coffee shop culture in the US. So, now that we know how to get the barista's attention, let's talk about the different types of coffee you can order. In the United States, you'll often hear people ordering a drip coffee, which is just a regular coffee made by dripping hot water through ground coffee beans. If you want a stronger coffee, you might want to try an espresso, which is made by forcing pressurized hot water through finely ground coffee beans. Now, if you're not a fan of strong coffee, you could try a latte, which is a combination of espresso and steamed milk. Or, if you prefer a bit more coffee than milk, you could go for a cappuccino, which is a mix of espresso, steamed milk, and foam. And then there's the mocha, which is like a latte but with chocolate syrup or cocoa powder added to it. When you're ordering, you might also hear the barista ask if you want your coffee black or with cream and sugar. If you want it black, that means you want it without any additives, just the coffee itself. If you want cream and sugar, you can ask for it with room for cream, which means they'll leave some space at the top of the cup for you to add your own cream and sugar. Another term you might hear is roast level, which refers to how dark or light the coffee beans are. You can get a light roast, which is lighter in color and has a more acidic taste, or a dark roast, which is darker in color and has a richer, bolder taste. And then there's the grind size, which is how finely the coffee beans are ground. Some coffee shops also offer iced coffee, which is just coffee served over ice, or cold brew, which is a type of coffee that's made by steeping coarse ground coffee beans in cold water for an extended period of time. Iced coffee is great for hot summer days, and cold brew is perfect if you want a smoother, less acidic coffee. Now, let's talk about sizes. In the United States, you'll often see coffee shops offering small, medium, and large sizes, which are sometimes called tall, grande, and venti, especially at Starbucks. A small or tall is usually around 8 ounces, a medium or grande is around 12 ounces, and a large or venti is around 20 ounces. So, when you're ordering your coffee, you can say something like, "I'll have a grande latte, please," or "I'll have a small coffee, black." Don't worry if it seems like a lot to take in at first. With practice, you'll be ordering like a pro in no time. So now you've decided on the type of coffee you want, let's talk about customizing it to your taste. In the US, baristas are very used to customers asking for modifications, so don't be afraid to ask. If you want your coffee to be stronger or weaker, you can ask for an extra shot of espresso or a weaker brew. For example, you can say, "I'll have a latte with an extra shot, please." Or, "Can you make this a half CAF, which means half decaf and half regular coffee?" You can also ask for your coffee to be made with a certain type of milk, such as whole milk, skim milk, or a non-dairy milk like almond or soy milk. Some coffee shops also offer flavored syrups, like vanilla or hazelnut, which you can add to your coffee for extra flavor. Just say, "I'll have a mocha with a pump of vanilla, please." If you take sugar or sweetener in your coffee, you can ask for it on the side, or you can ask the barista to add it for you. For example, you can say, "Can I have 2 sugars, please, or can you add a packet of sweetener to my coffee?" And if you're watching your calories, you can ask for a sugar-free sweetener like stevia or Splenda. Whipped cream is another popular topping for coffee drinks, especially for cold drinks like fraps or iced lattes. You can ask for whipped cream on top, or you can ask for no whipped cream if you're trying to be healthier. Some coffee shops also offer extra toppings like sprinkles, cinnamon, or cocoa powder, which you can sprinkle on top of your whipped cream for extra flavor and fun. In addition to customizing your coffee drink, you can also ask for extras like a pastry or a sandwich to go with your coffee. Many coffee shops have a selection of muffins, scones, and other baked goods that you can purchase to enjoy with your coffee. Just say, "I'll have a coffee and a muffin, please, or can I get a breakfast sandwich to go?" Remember, the key to ordering coffee like a pro is to be clear and confident when you're placing your order. Don't be afraid to ask for what you want, and don't worry if you make a mistake, the barista will help you get it just right. So, when you walk into a coffee shop in the USA, you'll probably notice that they have a lot of different size options for their drinks. Now, this can be a bit confusing, especially if you're not used to the way Americans order coffee. Let's start with the sizes, shall we? You'll usually see 3 main sizes: tall, grande, and venti. Now, tall is the smallest size, it's usually 12 ounces. Grande is the medium size, that's 16 ounces. And venti is the largest size, which is 20 ounces. Some coffee shops might also have a shorter size, which is usually 8 ounces, but that's not as common. Now, let's talk about the prices. The prices will vary depending on the coffee shop and the location, but generally, the prices will increase as the size of the drink increases. For example, a tall coffee might cost around $2, a grande coffee might cost around $3, and a venti coffee might cost around $4. But here's the thing, the prices can also vary depending on the type of coffee you order. If you order a simple coffee, like a drip coffee, it's usually going to be cheaper than if you order a fancy coffee, like a latte or a cappuccino. And if you add any extra ingredients, like whipped cream or extra syrup, that's going to cost extra too. So, when you're ordering your coffee, it's a good idea to have an idea of what you want before you get to the counter. You can say something like, "I'll have a grande coffee, please," or "I'll have a venti latte with whipped cream." That way, you can make sure you get what you want, and you'll know exactly how much it's going to cost. It's also a good idea to ask about the prices if you're not sure. You can say, "How much does a tall coffee cost?" Or, "How much extra is the whipped cream?" The barista will be happy to answer your questions and help you make your decision. And don't worry if you make a mistake, it's all part of the learning process, and the baristas are used to helping customers who are new to ordering coffee in the USA. So now that we've gone over the different types of coffee and some basic vocabulary, let's talk about how to place your order with confidence. When you walk into a coffee shop in the USA, you'll usually be greeted by a barista who will ask you what they can get for you. This is your chance to order your coffee just the way you like it. To start, you can say something like "I'll have a" or "Can I get a," and then specify the type of coffee you want. For example, you could say "I'll have a large coffee" or "Can I get a cappuccino?" If you want your coffee to go, you can add "to go" at the end of your order. Next, you can specify how you want your coffee made. Do you want it black, or do you want to add some cream and sugar? If you want it black, you can simply say "black," and if you want to add cream and sugar, you can say with room for cream, or I'll take it with a little cream and sugar. If you're ordering a specialty coffee drink, like a latte or a mocha, you can also specify the type of milk you want. For example, you could say I'll have a latte with whole milk, or can I get a mocha with skim milk? Some coffee shops also offer non-dairy milk alternatives, like almond milk or soy milk, so don't be afraid to ask for those if you prefer. Another thing you might want to consider when placing your order is the temperature of your coffee. If you want your coffee hot, you can simply say hot, and if you want it iced, you can say iced. Some coffee shops also offer a medium temperature, which is sometimes called a warm coffee. Finally, don't be afraid to ask for modifications to your coffee. If you want a little less foam or a little more coffee, just let the barista know. They're there to help you, and they want to make sure you get your coffee just the way you like it. So, to recap, when you're placing your order, try to be clear and confident. Say what type of coffee you want, how you want it made, and if you want any modifications. And don't worry if you make a mistake, the barista will help you out and make sure you get your coffee just right. With a little practice, you'll be ordering like a pro in no time. Let's try a few examples. I'll be the barista, and you can practice placing your order. What would you like to order? Remember to specify the type of coffee, how you want it made, and if you want any modifications. Go ahead and give it a try. So you're at the coffee shop, you've decided what you want to order, and now it's time to talk to the barista. The barista is the person who makes your coffee, and they'll probably ask you a few questions to get your order just right. One thing they might ask is if you want your coffee to stay or to go. This means, do you want to drink your coffee in the coffee shop or take it with you when you leave? You can say I'll have it to go, or I'll have it to stay, it's up to you. They might also ask what kind of milk you want. In the US, it's common to have a lot of different milk options, like whole milk, skim milk, almond milk, or soy milk. You can say I'll have whole milk, or I'll have non-fat milk, or if you're feeling fancy, you can say I'll have a non-dairy milk alternative. If you don't want any milk at all, you can just say black. Another question they might ask is if you want your coffee sweetened. This means, do you want to add sugar or another kind of sweetener to your coffee? You can say yes, I'll have sugar, or no, I'll have it unsweetened. Some coffee shops also have artificial sweeteners like Splenda or Equal, so if you want one of those, you can ask for it by name. The barista might also ask if you want whipped cream on top of your coffee. Whipped cream is a sweet, creamy topping that some people like to add to their coffee. You can say yes, I'll have whipped cream, or no, I won't have whipped cream. It's totally up to you. If you're ordering a complicated drink, like a latte or a cappuccino, the barista might ask you to clarify your order. For example, they might ask how many shots of espresso you want, or what kind of syrup you want. Don't be afraid to ask for what you want, and don't be afraid to ask the barista to repeat the question if you didn't understand it. Finally, when the barista asks you to pay, you can say I'll pay with card or I'll pay with cash. If you're paying with card, they'll probably ask you to swipe your card or insert your chip. If you're paying with cash, they'll ask you for the exact amount. You can also ask them if they accept other kinds of payment, like Apple Pay or Google Pay. Remember, the barista is there to help you, so don't be afraid to ask for what you want. And if you make a mistake, it's okay, just laugh and try again. Ordering coffee is a great way to practice your English skills, and with a little practice, you'll be a pro in no time. So you've ordered your coffee, now it's time to pay and pick it up. When you get to the counter, the barista will tell you how much you owe. They might say something like, your total comes out to be $5.50. You can pay with cash or card, it's up to you. If you're paying with cash, you can hand over the money and they'll give you your change. If you're paying with card, they'll ask you to swipe or insert your card into the machine. You might also be asked if you want to leave a tip, which is a common practice in the US. A tip is like a small bonus for the barista, usually around $1 to $2. You can choose to leave a tip or not, it's totally up to you. Once you've paid, the the barista will hand you a receipt and tell you to pick up your order at the other counter. This is usually called the pickup counter. When you get to the pickup counter, you'll see a bunch of drinks lined up with names on them. Find the one with your name on it, and that's your coffee. If you don't see your drink, don't worry, just let the barista know and they'll help you out. Now, let's recap what we've learned in this series. We started with the basics of ordering coffee, like saying hello and asking for a menu. Then we learned about the different types of coffee drinks, like lattes and cappuccinos. We also talked about customizing your drink, like asking for no sugar or extra foam. And finally, we covered paying and picking up your order. I hope this series has been helpful for you, and that you feel more confident ordering coffee at a coffee shop in the US. Remember, the key is to speak clearly and politely, and don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it. And don't worry if you make a mistake, it's all part of the learning process. Thanks for tuning in to this series, and I'll see you next time on our English Learning Podcast. If you have any questions or topics you'd like to cover, feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay curious, keep practicing, and I'll talk to you soon.